Hello, I'm Mike, and this is Will. We are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing issue 21 of Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. And in this issue, we got 5 Dreadscythe Harridans. Goes with the other 5 we got to finish off a set of 10, because normally you buy these in 10. And if you want to skip straight to the battle for this issue, there'll be a time code in the description. So we'll just have a quick flick through the issue now. First up, you have a little bit of background for the Stormcast again, talking about how sometimes the units from different chambers will team up in what's called a brotherhood to achieve some kind of objective. They mentions the Thunderstrike Brotherhood and how they fought against the worshippers of Khorne. Those are actually the ones from the original starter set for Age of Sigmar, and we will get some models from them later. And we have some background on the Knights Excelsior, apparently a particularly violent storm host, one that their allies look on a little bit warily. And we have background on the Chaos Gods, so you've seen the Forces of Chaos before, but we've got Nurgle here, the Lord of Disease and Decay, Khorne, the God of Blood, mostly better around battle. We have the Great Horned Rat, who is the God of the Skaven, scheming his way into power. We have Slaanesh, the Dark Prince, the God of Excess and the Lord of Pleasure, and Tzeentch, who's the sort of God of Magic and also of schemes, whatever his plans are beyond mortals. And here we have Bones and Blood, so this is the front cover of what will eventually be a guide to all the various undead that will appear. They're written by Tyrus von Stadt there. This is just a little introductory page. Then we have our build guide for the Harridans. So this is basically the same as the previous ones. The one difference is this Harridan here, which is the non-slasher crone version. So she basically only has 2 arms instead of 4. But otherwise these other 4 are all the same. And the painting guide is pretty much the same as the other Harridans now. You start off with the white base coat, Nihilakh Oxide with dry brush, then blue cloth, black hair, and then just picking out the roses in Dryad bark. So they got a bit of a lighter colour to go over the later painting. And it shows them finished there. So we also got this little fold out introducing us to the Realm of Life, since we're moving on from the Realm of Death to the Realm of Life. We're going to be fighting on Ghyran for the next 20 issues or so. So it just introduces there's been a constant battle since the Age of Chaos between the forces of Nurgle and the forces of Alariel, the heir of a queen, who's the queen of Ghyran, and she kind of leads the Sylvaneth, who are these sort of tree people. I believe have been mentioned before. They're constantly in battle against Nurgle, but now that we're in the Age of Sigmar, some of his forces have arrived to assist them, and hopefully they can take the realm away from the Chaos God of Decay. And turning to the other side, we can see a map of the Realm of Life, and it points out some of the major places of interest. So to point out some like the Greywater Fastness and Hammerhall are some of the cities of Sigmar that were mentioned in a previous issue not too long ago. And over here on the left, it again talks about the battle between the Sylvaneth and Nurgle. And also to point out, just over here, right on the bottom, is Kurnotheal, which is where the battles in the future issues will be taking place. But with all that look into the lore and such over, be into our game for this issue.
So here we are, we'll shortly be on to our game for this issue, which will be set on our new Realm of Life board, but before that we do have a few new rules that have been introduced in this issue. So first of all, we have a reference sheet here, as usual, which contains all the rules we know so far. There is one extra thing here now, which is the spell Mystic Shield, and it mentions just up there that most wizards know Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield, so we now have that available as well for our wizards, not that there are any in this game. Mystic Shield has a casting value of 6. You can pick a friendly unit within 18 inches of the caster that's visible to them, and that unit can reroll save rolls of 1. That lasts until your next hero phase. Actually, the other thing to note is that Arcane Bolt now has a maximum range of 18 inches, rather than before where it was effectively unlimited. Yeah, and then over the page we have all of our rules that we've learnt so far. There's nothing new here, we've seen all of this before. But we do now have a full war scroll for the Sequitors. Most of this is the same, but there are a couple of clarifications and new things for the Sequitors. Firstly, this is the format for a full war scroll, so we're going to be seeing more of these in the future. It explains what weapons they have, and it says that 2 in every 5 models can have a Stormsmite Great Mace, and the Sequitor Prime can also have a Great Mace in addition to any other models, if you wish, although the Sequitor Prime models we have don't have that, but you could easily just say that if you wanted to do that. The Great Mace Blast, it clarifies this only works against Demon and Nighthaunt units, so you get those extra hits on a 6. That's obviously not relevant for this collection, but if you're playing against other forces, that will come into effect. And you notice that Demon and Nighthaunt are written in a funny capital letter font. I'll explain why that is in a second. Then they have something called Etheric Channeling. It allows them to channel etheric power into their weapons or their shields, and you pick at the start of the combat phase which of these you like to do. If you choose its weapons, you can reroll all failed hit rolls for that combat phase. If you choose its shields, you can reroll all failed save rolls instead of only save rolls of 1, which would be normally the case with its soul shields. Doesn't actually say you have to have any soul shields in the unit to do that, but it kind of implies it by mentioning that. And then the soul shield rule there is unchanged. And those funny capital letter fonts mean that those things are keywords, and there's a list of keywords here. Imagine we'll get a formal explanation of these in a future issue, but basically they're just little tags that every unit has that explain certain things and interact with certain rules. So you can see Secretors have Order, Celestial, Human, Stormcast Eternals, Sacrosanct, Redeemer, and Secretors, and most of those have some relevance depending on certain rules and other things. Quite often for character auras and command abilities and that sort of thing it might specify. Or in the case of the Great Mace Blast, attacks made against units with those keywords that triggers on. And on the back of that page is just some explanations of how that works, so just examples of how the Great Mace works, etheric channeling to weapons or shields, and the soul shields. Then we have a war scroll for the chain rasps as well. Again, most of this is what we've seen before. They have a selection of keywords, including summonable, which will become relevant at a later date. The Dread Warden gets an extra attack, but he also gives the unit Bravery 10 while he's alive, so the chain rasps are much less likely to run away while he's alive. And their Chilling Horde rule is now correct, compared to how the magazine had it written before. You can only reroll wound rolls of 1 if there are more than 10 models in the unit, rather than 10 or more, which is what it used to say. And again, on the back page, there's just examples and explanations of how all those things work. But now we're on to our game, and the format for how this works has changed, which I'll explain in a moment, but first let's have a look at the story that has brought us to the Realm of Life. Apparently the Amethyst Stave that the Stormcast Eternals spent 20 issues looking for previously got broken as they escaped with it, and the power source, a gem filled with death magic, was stolen by the Nighthaunt, and the Stormcast Eternals lost track of it. But then it was discovered that there was an abundance of death magic in a part of Ghyran, the Realm of Life section here. You can see in that little map the Heartwood Coast, a place called Kurnotheal. The Nighthaunt apparently have attacked a soul pod grove in the Whisperwood Glade, which is where the Sylvaneth are grown. Suspecting this is where the gem has been taken, Sigmar has sent Stormcast Eternals to Ghyran to try and figure out what they're doing to save the Sylvaneth. And this is the new format for the games that we will be playing from now on. So gone are the step-by-step tutorials that run through everything. Now we have what's called a battle plan, which is basically a scenario. So you can see for this one we have our new Realm of Life board there with no terrain on it because we don't have any yet. 5 Secretors facing off against 15 chain rasps lining up on opposite ends of the mat. And there's actually a deployment map here at the bottom that shows that in more formal detail. We have the armies listed there, as I just mentioned, what you have to do to set up the game, to alternate setting up units one at a time starting with the Stormcast, and you have to deploy wholly within your territory, which is described on the map there. You can see the Stormcast territory and the Nighthaunt territory. It says at the moment the printed terrain on the battle mat has no effect on the games because we don't have any terrain to put there yet. And then it explains that the Stormcast player takes the first turn, it's the first battle round, and then it just says follow the instructions on the reference sheet, and the game ends when one player has no models on the battlefield. So that's the glorious victory, as it says. Yeah, and that will be the format for all of the games going forward. So we will have a look at the setup battlefield now and then get straight into playing. Here you can see our glorious new Realm of Life board. You'll notice there's some printed terrain on it, as it says. Some of this will be replaced with actual terrain when we get it, and some of it's just there for display, really. There's a sort of road bit coming in from the left there, and there's creepers and vines and things everywhere in this verdant realm. And we've got our 2 forces set up in their territory. Now, it doesn't actually give a distance for the amount of territory, it's just shown on the map as being about as far as the middle of that statue's head, so that's where I deployed it. It says we can just deploy them how we want now, so I deployed all my Secretors in a line. Then over on the Nighthaunt end, much the same thing as to which their territory extends, and Michael has deployed them in 2 ranks, like so.
There's 25mm is just under an inch, so we can fly in 2 ranks.
But as the battle plan says, the Stormcast get to go first in the first battle round, so we'll be on to Stormcast turn 1. Well, we're miles away from the Nighthaunt, so we're just going to run. And we get to go an extra 3 inches. I guess technically we do gain command points in this game, but neither of us are any heroes, so there's no point keeping track of them because you can't use any command abilities. And something I didn't mention is I actually decided to take 2 Stormsmite Great Maces, because now we have the 4 War Scroll which explains you can take 2 in every 5, so I thought I might as well, because they're quite good. So that gets them to about there, and we'll be on to the Nighthaunt turn.
So my turn, we're just going to move up a little bit. I want to try and get the charge, otherwise it's not going to go very well for me. If I move up normally and the Stormcast go next, I'm going to get charged, so I'm only going to move up a little bit.
That's it for the Nighthaunt turn, so now we will roll off for battle round 2. Oh, I got a 6.
No, I didn't.
I think I will go first. I've moved up a little bit. If I move up my full 5 inches, it'll be a really long charge for me, but then the Nighthaunt won't be able to move and get an easy charge. So I've moved up a little bit, and hopefully that will give the Nighthaunt a long charge. But that'll be it for my turn.
So my movement phase, I'm just going to move up my full 6 inches, and then in the charge phase I'm going to declare a charge. Charge distance is going to be an 11, that's easily going to be enough. So we'll finish our charge like that. Hopefully it might make it a bit harder for these two Stormcasts at the other end of the unit to get into contact. And everyone is within an inch of a Stormcast, so we'll get our maximum number of attacks, which is going to be 31. So we've got 31 attacks, got 15 dice here. Hitting on 4s, 5 from the first batch. Second batch was 16. 14 hits in total. Really on 4s, rerolling 1s because there's more than 10 of us. Reroll those 1s. All of that, and there's 4 wounds.
And I've got 4+ saves, rerolling fails. Well, there's 3 2s, so I can reroll all of those. Oh, I still failed, so it's still 3 wounds in total. So I will kill this one over here, because she probably won't be able to pile in an attack. And I'll put the wound on this one who's surrounded, because he's probably the least effective of the remaining models.
Yeah, it might look unimpressive, but that pretty works out to about average as well, actually, for that many of attacks.
Great Mace, who wasn't engaged, will pile in around the corner to get within weapon range, and then we will attack back. Start with our 2 Great Maces, so we've got 4 attacks in total, hitting on 3s. Only 2. And wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
5 plus, fail both, so that's going to be 4 chain rasp dead.
And then we've got 5 attacks from Storm's Might Mauls, including the extra one. From the Prime, hitting on 3s. 4 hits. Wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
5 plus, made 1, so that's going to be another 2, so that'll be 6 dead chain rasps. Now I'll just take away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So that is enough that the chain rasps could fail a battle shock test. The Secretors didn't lose enough to potentially fail one.
So on a 5 or a 6, I'm going to lose more models. Roll a 5 now, so I'll lose another chain rasp.
Yeah, and that's taking into account the Dreadwarden's increased bravery of 10. The next battle round, rolling off. Down to 2.
Well, I'm going to go first.
Yep, so this knight won't get to attack again. At the start of the combat phase, I'm going to choose powers of weapons this time to let me reroll all failed hits, because there aren't as many chain rasps left, and it'd be good to try and thin them out a bit more.
17 attacks hitting on 4s, 5 hits, wounding on 4s, yeah, so we only got 2 wounds after all that.
2 4+ saves, rerolling 1s. That's a 1 and a 5. No, so that is 1 wound. It will kill off the wounded Secretor. And after that, the Stormcast get to pile in and attack again. So a bit of piling in, and we'll get to attack again. Still got both Great Maces, so we'll do those first. Hitting on 3s. Oh, there's a double 6 there, so reroll that 2. It's still a 2. 6s are d3 hits each, so they turn into 2 each, so that's 5 hits. Wounding on 3s. Only 2 wounds.
5 plus save, fell both, so that's 4 dead chain rasps.
So the Prime gets to attack, 3 attacks on 3s, triple 1, but re-rolling everything thanks to power to weapons. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. Oh, nothing.
Yeah. So 4 chain rasps die, just take these 4 off the back. I only lost 4 models, so I will have to take a battle shock test because I'm bravery 10 with the Dreadwarden.
And then we're on to the Stormcast turn, where I will get to attack. And this combat phase I will do power to weapons again. Great Maces first, hitting on 3s. There's 1 6 and 2 misses, which I can re-roll. Still miss, so d3 plus 3, 4 hits total. And only 1 wound though.
5 plus save. Yeah, saved.
And then the Prime gets 2 hits and a reroll, 3 hits. Wounding on 3s, 2.
5 plus save. Oh, I made another one. Only 1 dies. I guess we'll take away that one.
Then the chain rasps get to attack back.
Yeah, Dreadwarden will pile in. Yeah, we got 7 attacks from the remaining chain rasps, hitting on 4s, getting a mighty 1 hit. It wounds on a 4. Yeah, it wounded at least.
4 plus save, re-rolling 1s, that's a 6. And on to the next battle round, I rolled a 4.
I got a 5, going to go first again.
I'm going to do power to weapons again.
Well, 5. Oh, 7 attacks hitting on 4s, and we got 6 hits. Wounding on 4s, 3 wounds.
4 plus saves, re-rolling 1s. I still made 2, so 1 will take a wound. And then we'll attack back. 4 attacks from the Great Maces, hitting on 3s, re-rolling everything, so... No, 3 hits, but one of them is d3. It's 4 hits in total. Wounding on 3s, 2.
5 plus, need to make both to live. Nope.
So yeah, 4 damage from the Great Mace wipes them out. I think we'll set that one up again and have another go. See if the chain rasps can roll a little bit better this time. So set both sides up again, and Stormcast will be going first. Might as well run again, no point standing around. Oh, only 2 inches this time. We only get that far, and then the Nighthaunt won't get to go.
So, like last time, we're only going to move off a little bit of the way. If Stormcast go first next turn, it'll be a long charge again.
So rolling off for the next battle round. I got a 6, you got a 5. I'm going to make you go first this battle round.
I'm just going to stand still my turn. It would be about a 9-inch charge, I think, to get within half an inch.
My turn, Stormcast will move up a little bit, but we're still not going to get too close. So it's a new battle round rolling off. I got a 1.
I got a 3, so I'm going to go first. And it's looking very similar to the last game. We're moving up our full distance and we're going to try and charge. What? Oh, 3 is not enough. Can't do anything about it.
So yeah, on to the Stormcast turn. So the Secretors are going to shift over that way, and then we're going to make a charge, staying 3 inches away obviously, but basically trying to do the Nighthaunt tactic against them and attack only one end of the unit, so that some of the models might not be able to pile in. Making our charge, 10, I think that'll be enough. We'll end our charge like that, the primed getting within half an inch of one of the chain rasps, and then we'll go into the combat phase. I'll do power to weapons because I want to try and do as much damage as possible before the Nighthaunt hit back. And then we'll pile in a bit just to get into base contact with some of the chain rasps, because then they can't move out the way and let more models get in. We'll attack with the Great Maces first, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, re-rolling, so no 6s, but I'll re-roll that 1. 4 hits. Wounding on 3s, only 2.
5 plus. Feel worse, that's going to be 4 dead chain rasps.
7 attacks from Stormsmite Mauls, hitting on 3s, re-rolling. Only 1 miss, re-roll. Still a miss, so 6 hits. Wounding on 3s, only 3.
5 plus. Made them all. So I'll take away these 4 at the back. So we piled in, all of us apart from this guy at the back, within an inch. 21 attacks hitting on 4s, and 12. That's a bit better than last time. And then we're wounding on 4s, re-rolling 1s because there's more than 10 of us. I get to re-roll all those 1s. Only get 1 extra wound, so it's 5 wounds in total.
4 plus saves, re-rolling 1s. Made 3, no 1s, so 2 damage. We'll kill off 1 Secretor. No battle shock test necessary, and so we're on to a new battle round. Rolling off. All 6.
Well, I got 6 as well, and I went first.
So you get to choose.
I'll go first again.
Into the combat phase, I'm going to choose power to shields this time.
Makes sense. So the chain rasps will pile in, and we can get everyone within an inch of a Stormcast. So we got 23 attacks, hitting on 4s. And we're getting 16 hits out of all that. And then wounding on 4s, re-rolling 1s, because there's still more than 10 of us. So we've got 8 so far, re-rolling the 1s into another 1, so that's going to be 9 wounds.
4 plus saves, re-rolling everything. Failed 4. Alright.
I made them all.
Passed every single one. Well, then we get to hit back. Great Maces first, 4 attacks on 3s. 1 miss, but double 6, so 1 plus 2d3. It was only 3 hits in total at least. Wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
5 plus. Made 1.
And 5 attacks from Storm Smite Mauls. Triple 2. 2 hits, wounding on 3s. 1.
5 plus. You have 3 dead chain rasps in total. Just take away these 3.
But not enough for a battle shock test. And then on to the Stormcast turn, where we will attack again, and we're going to do power to weapons this time. So back with Maces again. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, but re-rolling this time. Another double 6 and a re-roll.
Just
1 plus 3d3 hits. 4. So 8 hits in total. These wound on 3s. 5.
5 pluses. I made 1.
8.
There's only 8 left, so they all die.
So another resounding victory for the Secretors there, thanks to some decent rolling from me mostly. So that was our first game on our new Realm of Life board, and we'll recap those for you now. So that was the battle plan from issue 21 of Mortal Realms magazine. How do you think that went?
Pretty much what I've come to expect from Chain Rasps v Secretors now, is we tend to lose quite badly. I mean, I guess we didn't do quite as badly as I thought, considering you've got your divert power to shields or weapons ability. But
well, there was one occasion where I rolled all my saves thanks to power to shields and power to weapons also. A few issues ago we had basically the same thing, Secretors versus Chain Rasps, and the Secretors are still better.
And they've come a long way from the beginning where they just got steamrolled by Chain Rasps when it was just rolling to hit, but now they can probably take on at least 20 quite easily.
The 15 Chain Rasps still isn't actually that big a unit in the scheme of things. You can
making it up to 40. But then again, based on the number that can actually attack you.
Yeah, it's true, and I tried a little bit to limit the number of attacks coming back in that second game. It didn't really work out in the end because I just killed enough of them anyway that it made no difference. But again, I think we're seeing a little bit of the tactical manoeuvring in this game as well, with the choice of whether someone goes first or second in the battle rounds and who wants to charge and get charged. Another thing that as we get more units, it'll become more relevant, or more tactical, I suppose, because there'll be more things to do and it will make more difference whether you go first or second. But we have the 4 War Scrolls now, which is nice.
And it is nice to have the 10 bravery from the Dreadworn. Basically my entire army is going to be bravery 10 now.
With the Secretors also, we now know how many Great Maces they can have. It does mean that eventually, when we've got all the Secretors we're going to get, we'll be able to field all of the Great Maces. Because at the moment, there are 3 Great Maces and only 9 Secretors. We also learn about Mystic Shield could be useful.
Yeah, it's a nice little durability boost. It's only going to be nice for the Nighthaunt to be able to reroll 1s on your saves. Basically makes you as durable as Stormcast in that case.
I think almost every wizard gets that spell as well, so they're the kind of 2 default spells that you get with every wizard. So
yeah, actually, it's saying we didn't actually get wizards, so we could show it off. Sure, we'll see it soon enough. I do like that they switched away from the tutorial. This is basically the format going on now. The battle plan format in this magazine is also how scenarios usually work when you're playing proper games.
Yes, I think we've moved away from the sort of tutorial section of the magazine now, and it's more, now we're going to show you the full rules for everything and gradually build up.
It's much less hand-holdy.
Yeah, it's not going through everything step by step anymore. It's still giving examples to show you how stuff works. And actually in future issues we will be getting basically full pages from the core rule booklet printed in the magazine, gradually build up the core rules that way. As well, we do have a new battle mat. It doesn't have anything on it yet, but it's a nice shiny new battle mat.
Yeah,
different aesthetic.
And looking at the way the terrain's laid out, it'll be much more interesting. It's not just all the terrain in one half of the board.
Yeah, once we get the terrain, it will actually get in the way.
Some very nice big pieces as well. It will look impressive.
But we'll see that as we get it with the magazine.
I will say I'm quite disappointed to not actually be able to use the Harridans I get. I think that's been 3 issues in a row where I've had either Chainmaster and a character or just Chainmaster on their own. The last time I had something other than Chainmaster or a character was the Dreadscythe Harridans issue. I mean, I guess with the Stormcast you're kind of limited because it's mostly Secretors and Castigators, but I've got other types of Ghost. I never see them.
Yeah, I do feel like this was a little bit, right, well, you've got a new board and some more rules to learn, so we're going to go right back to the really basic units, and I still think we could have at least had a hero each, would have not made the scenario too complicated or anything.
Also going back to the Dreadscythe Harridans, I think it's actually quite a long time before we actually see the ones we got in this issue as well, actually, looking through the issues.
It is disappointing, because it's not the first issue that this has happened either, where we got some more Secretors and Castigators, and they just didn't appear in the scenario at all.
Yeah, and I don't think that ever really occurred in Conquest either. You usually use the models you've got.
Yeah, you got them straight away. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this issue of Mortal Realms on this video. So if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Leave any comments you have. If you've been playing through these, let us know how you've been getting on, your thoughts on the models or the new board. We'd like to hear about it. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.